Welcome to our channel. Today, we discuss a topic that sounds like it came straight out of science fiction, but is rapidly approaching reality: why babies born in the year 2075 might be genetically edited specifically for life on Mars. Now, before you imagine little red-suited infants bouncing around in low gravity, let's take a step back and explore why humanity might even consider doing something so radical. The story of our species has always been about adaptation. For thousands of years, humans have changed their environment to survive, building shelters, developing agriculture, and creating medicines. But space presents a challenge we can't simply engineer around in the same way. Mars is not Earth. It has a thin atmosphere, far lower gravity, higher radiation levels, and extreme temperature swings. If humans hope to establish permanent colonies there, we face the reality that the human body, as it exists today, is not fully equipped for survival. Imagine stepping off a spacecraft onto the Martian surface. You wouldn't just need a suit to protect you from the cold or the radiation. Your bones and muscles would struggle in low gravity, your heart would work differently to pump blood in an environment with 1/3 of Earth's gravitational pull, and your skin and eyes would be vulnerable to cosmic radiation. While technology can compensate to some extent through advanced habitats, protective shields, and medical interventions, it has its limits. This is where genetic editing enters the conversation. By 2075, the tools for precision gene editing, such as CRISPR, are expected to be far more advanced than today. These tools allow scientists to tweak the human genome with unprecedented accuracy. In theory, this means that we could enhance certain physical traits, improve disease resistance, or even adjust the body to thrive in environments vastly different from Earth. The idea of genetically editing babies for life on Mars is not just about survival, it's about creating humans optimized for an entirely new world. You might be wondering, what specific changes would be necessary for Martian adaptation? Let's start with radiation. Unlike Earth, Mars has no global magnetic field to protect its surface from cosmic rays and solar radiation. Long-term exposure can lead to severe health issues, including cancers and damage to the nervous system. Scientists envision modifying human DNA to enhance natural DNA repair mechanisms, essentially making our cells more resilient to radiation damage. Imagine a human whose cells can detect and repair mutations caused by radiation more efficiently than ours today. This could dramatically reduce health risks for Martian colonists. Next, consider gravity. Mars' gravity is only about 38% of Earth's, which would have profound effects on muscles, bones, and cardiovascular health. Astronauts returning from long-duration missions in microgravity already face muscle atrophy and bone density loss. In a Martian environment, these problems would be even more pronounced. Genetic modifications might aim to strengthen bones, enhance muscle maintenance, or even adjust the way our circulatory system functions, so our hearts don't struggle to pump blood in weaker gravity. Thermoregulation is another critical factor. Mars can reach temperatures as low as -125 degrees Celsius at the poles, with frequent dust storms that block sunlight for weeks. Adapting humans to survive in such extremes could involve genetic tweaks to metabolism, allowing bodies to generate heat more efficiently or store energy in a way that sustains vital functions during long periods of cold and limited resources. On top of that, consider the psychological challenges. Isolation, confined spaces, and the stark, alien landscape can take a toll on mental health. While genetics alone can't fully prevent psychological strain, there may be potential to enhance resilience to stress, improve cognitive flexibility, or even fine-tune circadian rhythms to better align with a Martian day, which is about 24 hours and 39 minutes. The ethical considerations of genetically editing babies for Martian life are enormous, and society will undoubtedly debate them for decades. Some argue that altering human embryos is a dangerous step, potentially opening the door to unintended consequences, social inequality, or designer babies based on subjective preferences. Others counter that failing to adapt to Mars could mean that human colonization is either impossible or comes at extreme physical and psychological costs. This tension is at the heart of the conversation about space genetics. But even beyond Mars, the discussion touches on a broader question: should humanity take control of its own evolution? Humans have always shaped their environment. Now, with tools like gene editing, we have the potential to shape ourselves in response to environments we choose or that we must inhabit. It's worth noting that the technology required for Martian genetic adaptation is already in its infancy on Earth. Scientists are using CRISPR to study ways to cure genetic diseases, enhance immune responses, and even experiment with traits like longevity or resilience. While we are nowhere near the point of safely engineering babies for life on another planet, the trajectory of research suggests that by 2075, these ideas could be much closer to reality. Moreover, the timeline aligns with the ambitions of space agencies and private companies to establish permanent human settlements on Mars. NASA, SpaceX, and other organizations have made it clear that sending humans to Mars is not just a distant dream, it's a goal that might be realized within the next few decades. As missions grow longer and settlements expand, the question of who is genetically suited for Martian life becomes more than science fiction, it becomes a practical concern. There's also a fascinating dimension related to human diversity. Mars presents an opportunity for humans to experiment with forms of adaptation that might have been impossible on Earth. For example, humans on Mars might develop new metabolic pathways to utilize limited food resources more efficiently, or skin that better resists radiation and dust exposure. Eyes could be adapted for dim or red-hued light environments, reflecting the unique Martian landscape. Over generations, these adaptations could create humans who are markedly different from their Earthbound ancestors, not better or worse, just optimized for a new set of environmental conditions. But this raises another question: if we start modifying humans for Mars, do we create a divergence between Earth-adapted humans and Martian-adapted humans? Could this lead to a kind of speciation over centuries? Scientists and ethicists are beginning to explore these possibilities, and the implications are as thrilling as they are controversial. Beyond biology, there are social and cultural implications to consider. If genetic editing becomes a requirement for Martian colonization, access to these technologies could become a major societal dividing line. Who gets to decide which traits are prioritized? Could this create a new form of inequality where only the genetically optimized can live safely on Mars? How do we balance the needs of survival with principles of fairness, freedom, and consent, especially for babies who cannot choose for themselves? These are questions that humanity will need to answer before sending its youngest members into the stars. The discussion isn't just about science, it's about philosophy, ethics, law, and the very essence of what it means to be human. At the same time, the allure of genetic editing for Mars is undeniable. Imagine a child born on the red planet, with lungs adapted for thinner air, skin resistant to radiation, and bodies resilient to the challenges of a world far from Earth. For parents, scientists, and futurists, this possibility represents the next frontier of human innovation, a chance to ensure that the human species not only survives but thrives beyond its home planet. And for all of us watching from Earth, it sparks wonder, curiosity, and sometimes unease. It challenges our notions of identity, inheritance, and destiny. Of course, none of this means that Mars babies are imminent. Safety, ethics, and societal consensus will likely slow down any genetic programs for decades. Researchers must ensure that any modifications are not only effective but also safe, without unintended consequences that could affect the child, future generations, or the ecosystem of a Martian colony. But even the discussion itself signals a profound shift in human thinking. We are moving from exploring space as visitors to considering space as a place where humans can live permanently and where evolution might be guided, rather than left solely to chance.